All of us know that there have been efforts in the past to come to commonality around standards, and those have not been successful. So why should this one be more successful than the past, I think, is an important question. I would say this is fundamentally different and in ways that will assure success. First of all, as the governor has indicated, it remains a state-led effort, and as a former chief in 2 states, it is important in our conversations among the chiefs that it remains so. Secondly, we have said to the states from the very beginning, this is voluntary, and if a state does not want to comply, they may choose not to do so, but we are pleased that 48 states and 2 territories are currently engaged in the process. Third, we are aiming higher with these standards than we have attempted in the past. And by that, we are, again, attempting to make these standards higher because we know that there is tremendous disparity among the states in terms of expectations. Secondly, we're trying to make them clearer so that a teacher in the classroom and an administrator in a building will be able to read those standards and understand them. And we are also attempting to make them more direct and fewer, because what we have done in many states, as you read those standards, is expand the expectations, and well-meaning and hard-working teachers are attempting to teach to all those standards, and in doing so, we're losing the deepness of understanding that students have in covering all of that. So these are higher, clearer, fewer standards than we had before, and as the governor said, we're internationally benchmarking these against the other countries. We're not only including content here, we're talking about the cognitive capacities that these students are going to need to be successful in this new world economy. And finally, we are building on the idea that we will try to put as much evidence on the table as possible in terms of coming up with these standards. I will say frankly that there is not enough evidence out there as we go through this process in 2009, but we have changed the way in which we're setting standards, trying to make sure that we make a direct link between the experiences students have at K-12 and the ultimate success they have in careers and in colleges. So this is different. This will assure success, we think, in the future. It is an intensive process. We have been open and transparent. We've had all educational organizations who are interested give us direct comments. We've had members of the unions, we've had the administrators, the local boards, all engaged in conversations with us. We've had the civil rights community providing advice. We've had university professors who are well known and respected in the field to provide advice. That's highly complex and diverse and frankly, very dynamic in terms of the work that we're engaged in. But we do feel that out of that process, in addition to having over 1,000 individual comments come into us about the nature of these standards, we're coming up with the best effort we've had as a country. So we feel good about that, and what we are now attempting to do is move this to a point where this state-led effort will lead to a process of adoption by the states. We have a 2-part document that has been created. The first part is a statement about what we call readiness standards for college in mathematics and English language arts. What are the expectations for a student to know and be able to do to enter a credit-bearing course, not remediation, in college and be successful in that course? And that's a question we've asked higher ed to answer for us. It's a question we brought organizations who have expertise and knowledge about, like the ACT and the College Board, other organizations like Achieve through the American Diploma Project. We have reached out to others to answer that question. We have a validation committee of national respected individuals who are answering that question. And then we're asking those individuals to give us a sense of what those readiness standards would look like if we began to articulate those into learning progressions through the K-12 experience. If we know what and can agree upon what those readiness standards are, what would it look like at a 3rd grade level for a teacher to look at those standards and be clear about what is expected of and what happened at the 2nd and the 1st grade prior to that, and then what would be expected of that student as that student moves through the learning process. So it's a 2-part document. The readiness standards being very open and transparent about what we expect for success, and then an articulation of those standards through the learning experience. We have, at this point, produced those learning readiness standards. We put them out for public comment. We received advice. We are now in the process of finalizing and revising those statements. We have put in the hands of the states those K-12 learning progressions. They are now providing us feedback. Friday was the deadline for the states to do so. They have done that, and we are weeding through the numerous and very thoughtful presentations that are being made by the states. Every state has been given an invitation to provide that sort of feedback, and we are asking other individuals to do the same. We have a validation committee that will be reviewing all of this, and our goal is still by the end of January to have a document that can be shared with the country in terms of our expectations. So it's moving forward according to schedule. We see direct benefits for this at every level for the students in the system who are now very mobile, not only within states but across the country, in being able to set some expectations that they can follow as they move throughout their career. It should not matter where a student goes to school. Those same expectations should be held for every one of them. For the parents, there's hopefully a set of statements that are much clearer than what we've had in the past. You can actually read those and interpret them and understand the role that you as a parent or guardian play in that educational process. For teachers, this will be the first time we put in front of them a set of very clear statements about their roles and responsibility, and broken this down in a way that an individual teacher would be able to understand and know what contribution that teacher can make to the process. And for universities, this is a statement about readiness. It's a commitment on the part of K-12 to send prepared students into the higher education system, but also to say to the higher ed community, we have a lot of work ahead of us to align what you're doing at the university system with the K-12 experience. That leads us to, I think, this final issue I'd like to talk about, and that's the federal role. We believe this as its strength because it is a state-led initiative. We want it to remain a state-led initiative, but we do feel that there is a federal role in supporting this kind of work, and I think that comes first of all in the area of research. We need more practical research on what's going on in classrooms around the implementation of these standards, because we know this is only a first step. When we get standards in front of individuals, we then need to develop assessment systems, program supports, and support for our teachers, and we need support in multiple ways. The federal government can provide that kind of support.
If you can wrap.